Big Red, flowers are in bloom at beautiful Belmont Park. Gorgeous Sunday afternoon. In fact, our final Sunday during summer. I think the fall starts this coming Wednesday, and it certainly started to feel like autumn out here on a blustery Sunday. Plenty of sun and blue sky. It's the Mig. Getting Miggy with it on tonight's show. Richard Migliore, Jason Blewitt alongside, and Pick 6 Mania, Pick 6 Central. Over 2 million up for grabs in Sunday sequence.
You called it. You said it would be up over 2 million, and it was. And I love that shot in the beginning there. It looked more like springtime with all those flowers and bloom, but the weather is definitely saying autumn. As we get closer to those big Breeders' Cup preps, just less than a week out from the big Joe Hirsch Turf Classic Day, we'll have the fleece blanket. That would have been appropriate sitting in the stands in the shade here today. The 5 graded stakes, just under 2 million in purses, and the work tab at Belmont really starting to heat up with some big names. Yeah, a lot of horses pointing for these big races and the Breeders' Cup beyond, and we saw Honor Code on the work tab yesterday morning. And let's catch up with Hall of Fame trainer Shug McGahee to see how Honor Code came out of the breeze. Shug, Honor Code ran so big in the Whitney, and Liam's Map came back and ran so big in the Woodward. It really gave a lot of credibility to the Whitney, obviously, but he's been training well, and you're pointing towards the Kelso. Is that right?
Yeah, so far he has been training well ever since the Whitney. He's had 2 very good works up here. I was really impressed with his work here Saturday morning. You know, he'd gone fast the time before, just kind of a steady work the last time, let him finish, and that's what he did. I had him like 36-4, 101-1, Calp out in 13. I was very pleased with it. And you're pointing towards the Kelso. What's the thought process behind that before going back to the mile and a quarter? Well, I just thought going a mile might put a little sting in him, or a mile and a quarter might take a little sting out of him, and that was just sort of my gut feeling. And, you know, whether it's right or wrong, we'll never know. But, you know, he ran, and this didn't have anything to go into it. I really thought about it afterwards, but he ran pretty good in the Met and then came back and ran good in the Whitney. I run a couple of horses in the Gold Cup and ran them back in the Breeders' Cup, and they didn't run that well, the horses that won. So I had that sort of in the back of my head a little bit too, but I just sort of wanted to use something that was sort of springing forward instead of maybe me having them springing forward. Ironicus has really emerged as, to me, the best miler on the turf in the country. Where are you headed with him? Straight to the Breeders' Cup. You know, I had to kind of bang it back and forth in my head of what to do, and he was doing so well up at Saratoga and run so well over that turf course. I thought, well, he's doing good. Let's go on and run him back in the Bernard Baruch. And I knew then that would probably eliminate the Shadwell Mile. And, you know, I'd rather go into the Breeders' Cup with a fresh horse and maybe a horse that I was sort of nursing there to get fresh, having to run on October the 3rd and back in, 27 days. So that's what I elected to do. He's really emerged this year. What has changed about him? What made him turn the corner? Well, we always thought he was a nice horse. It was just a matter of kind of getting it right, you know. And his race at Keeneland, he got beat to a horse of Billy's that was in front the whole way, but he ran a great race that day. And I guess from there it just moved him forward. You know, we took him down to Pimlico and ran him, and he exploded down there and was able to win. And then we wanted to run him in the poker, but he got a little bit sick on me, so I elected to come back and run him in the Lounge race, and he ran very, very good against Grand Arch in the, you know, the 4-star Dave. You know, I think he got beat by a nice horse, was an unlucky loser, and then he came back and ran the race he ran in the Bernard Baruch. So, you know, we're looking forward to what's down the road. Well, we're looking forward to seeing him, Shug. Thank you. Thank you, Richie. I like a man that does what he thinks is best, and Shug McGahee enshrined upstate in the Hall of Fame and needs no introduction on this show, taking sort of a detour to the Breeders' Cup Classic with Honor Code with that start in the Kelso. I think, you know, he said it so well, and it underscores the fact that whatever race before the Breeders' Cup is a prep race. As important as these races are and you want to win them, ideally you'd like to win them and go forward off them, and I think that's what he's doing here. And I like the thought process, how big he ran in the Met, how big he ran in the Whitney, a similar pattern to that. And nobody should ever question or second-guess Shug McGahee. He knows his horses, and he knows how to get it done, and he's done so consistently for a number of years. And he knows how to win the Breeders' Cup Mile, the incomparable lore. We can't help but think of that great turf miler back in 92 and 93, winning back-to-back Breeders' Cup Miles at Churchill Downs and Santa Anita. And Ironicus, the grade by Distorted Humor, took his game every time we saw him throughout the summer to a new level. He really has, and the emerging race was that race at Pimlico that we showed, and the way he kicked on, he hit
at the front, and you could see he almost dropped about another foot and kicked it into another gear. He's fun to watch. He's really, really one of those true closers that you can't help but get an eye on because he's gray, so he catches your attention.
Much like Honor Code, who I think is Chestnut, but streaks down the stretch at Belmont Park. Thank you very much. Dark Bay by the great AP Indy. As we move ahead, we'll lower ourselves to the turf, and we'll see what shook out the co-featured third race, the Ashley T. Cole with Larry Colmes.
And it is Moore's NT who comes out running on the lead. Lou Bash is away well to the outside. And then toward the inside, it's Iron Power and Carafa. The early trailer Runaway Posse is going to be about 5 lengths off the lead as they round the first turn. Moore's NT is the pacemaker. And then it's Iron Power in second. Lou Bash is third to the outside. 2 lengths ahead of Carafa, fourth onto the backstretch. And Runaway Posse, last of them all, racing 7 lengths off the lead. The pace is slow. 25-3 was the first quarter. And Joel Rosario and Longshot Moore's NT lead the way. And Lou Bash has moved up into second now, just a length behind the pacemaker. Iron Power is third on the inside, well held by Jose Ortiz, while Carafa sits comfortably in fourth, 3 lengths off the lead and 2.5 lengths ahead of Runaway Posse, who continues to be last of the 5. 50-4 was the first half mile for Moore's NT, with Lou Bash 3/4 of a length behind. Iron Power continues to save the ground into the turn. Then comes Carafa in fourth, and still Runaway Posse trailing the field around the far turn. Moore's NT and Lou Bash is just a half length behind on the outside. Iron Power and Carafa just in behind them, and Runaway Posse around the far turn. And it is Moore's NT. Lou Bash now a neck back in second, and Carafa makes his bid 3 wide. Back into fourth is Iron Power, and they're into the stretch. And it is Lou Bash and Carafa. And these two come after the lead, and Runaway Posse's going to try to go with them. Carafa's got the lead. Runaway Posse, Lou Bash has got to do better. Then it's Iron Power on the inside. It's Carafa in front. Javier Castellano and Carafa will win the Ashley T. Cole over Runaway Posse. Iron Power ended up third, and Lou Bash finished fourth.
Over $800,000 in career earnings, 11 lifetime victories for Carafa, and his second Ashley T. Cole win took the race back in 13. He was a powerhouse today.
He really was. He showed a turn of foot when his arch nemesis Lou Bash didn't run his normal good race. Carafa was in a position to take advantage of it. Lou Bash has already gone over $1 million, so Carafa doesn't want to get left too far behind.
No, and wanted to win his second Ashley T. Cole. It's 2-2 in that department, and here's Tim Hills, who's done a great job with this gelding by Kid Alpha.
Tim, Carafa really delivered a big stretch punch. How'd you feel when you saw him stalking Lou Bash's nemesis?
Well, I was surprised at the way it came up. I handicapped the race that the 1 would be in front. Especially since Christophe trains both horses, but they're different owners, so I understood that. But the funny thing is I told Javier, don't let the 1 go out and walk the dog, and you'll end up outside fighting him. And he looked at me funny in the paddock, and I thought, okay. Well, the way it broke, he broke us just a step slow, and he fell in and covered him up, and he was so relaxed, which is a problem we've had before a bit in getting rank. But he had him relaxed nicely and just really exploded. I'm not going to give that jock instructions anymore, other than good luck.
Well, you certainly have Carafa in raging form still. What's the key to keeping a horse going, at his age and having that longevity?
Well, he was fortunate enough to be a New York-bred turf horse. You can't get the urge to keep him pushing him through the winter, so we always put him away for the winter and bring him back. The previous owner, Larry DeRocher, did that, and Paul Braverman and his partners do the same thing. So he'll have a couple more races, and then he'll go to the farm, and we'll see you next year.
Well, great job. Congratulations.
Thanks, Richie.
And it does appear that Carafa really seems to hit his best stride when the weather gets a bit cooler. August comes to a close. We get back to Belmont, and he is your defending winner of the Mohawk as well.
That's a great point. Certain horses excel at different times of the year. Some don't handle the heat as well as others. Some really blossom when it gets cooler. And I like what he said. I'm not going to give that jock instructions anymore. Well, there's an old adage. Good jockeys don't need instructions. Bad jockeys can't follow them.
All right, there you go. $20 million in counting and purse money won for Javier on the season, and we'll see if he came back and won the second stakes on today's card, the John Hettinger New York-bred Fillies and Mares. And here's Larry Colmes.
And And it's Old Harbor on the inside out for the lead. Freudian's got speed too. Freudian and Old Harbor will make the pace. And right behind her, Chrysolite and Selenite to the outside. In between horses comes Say Three Hail Marys, and then it's back to the teacups. An Unbelievable Dream trails the field. Up front, Freudian has taken charge here, and Freudian goes on to lead them by a length and a half up the backstretch with Old Harbor now switched to the outside by Elvis Trujillo to sit second after a 25 flat opening quarter mile. And then comes Chrysolite in third. Say Three Hail Marys fourth, and down on the inside, 3 lengths off the lead. The Teacups has moved up a couple of spots now, and the Teacups has 4 lengths to make up. That Unbelievable Dream and Selenite. Up the backstretch they go. Freudian a half a length on top. Old Harbor getting a bit closer now. The margin down to a neck. And the half mile goes up in 49 3/5 seconds. And then it's Chrysolite to the outside of Say Three Hail Marys, who's down toward the rail and now takes third. The Teacups is fifth on the outside, 4.5 lengths to make up. Unbelievable Dream and Selenite. Into the far turn, Freudian in front, continuing to be pressed by Old Harbor. These two, noses apart now on the lead. Nothing separates them, and they kick on. And they really kick on. They've opened up by 3 lengths as they round the far turn. The Teacups is third, and now being motivated to go by Luis Saez as they come to the top of the stretch. And it is now Old Harbor who's in front. And Old Harbor has put away Freudian. Then the Teacups, and to the outside, Selenite is trying to close the gap, but Old Harbor has run away. Old Harbor's got a 5-length lead past the 16th pole, and Old Harbor and Elvis Trujillo will win the Hettinger.
She loves it at Belmont. She is just an overachiever and a very good horse in Old Harbor.
So consistent. She shows up pretty virtually every time. Got a perfect trip. Stalking a very slow pace. Big, really imposing, good-looking mare. I was so impressed with her walking into the winner's circle.
4-year-old filly by Raffy's Majesty, and Elvis was certainly in the building.
Elvis, she had a real nice trip with Old Harbor. Was it the plan to lay up close or just because they were going slow?
No, this is a plan, this is sit down the second tour, this is a plan. They're trying to tell me this is put it behind a little bit, and that's it.
You did real good in Saratoga with limited opportunities. You went on a lot of long shots, and you seem to have a very good feel for the turf. Are you more comfortable riding on the grass?
Yeah, this is, you have a good horse, you can do it whatever you want, it is hard racing, you have 2 good horses.
Well, you've been putting them in the right spots. How do you feel about how it's going in New York? You won with Recepta yesterday, Old Harbor today. You got to be pretty happy with the way things are going.
Yeah, thank you, God, for the game opportunity. Thank you for the trainer, my family stay with me, Just give me a lot of help, But thank you for everybody giving help.
Well, you're riding great. Keep it up. Congratulations.
Thank you so much.
Elvis Trujillo, not a bad weekend. You mentioned, Mig, the upset win in yesterday's Grade 3 Noble Damsel with Recepta. He got a nice one in the Hettinger with Old Harbor, and we had fun talking about Elvis and picking apart Recepta and a lot more on the racing report.
Yeah, just a terrific ride, and I think a guy that's making a solid impression. I'm going to be curious to see what he plans to do for the winter. Will he stick it out in the cold, or will he head south?
We're going to head to the second break. Mile and a quarter journey for the fillies and mares on the turf awaits on the second half of this break on MSG Plus.
The new Parks Fall Festival will double purses for each of its 32 live racing days. What an opportunity for Pennsylvania breds. In an open maiden special, PA breds will run for over $100,000. So be there at Parks in the fall.
Hello, I'm Brian Sanfratello. Last year, we paid $33 million to PA breds in the form of breeder awards, owner bonuses, and restricted race purses. Our Equine Coalition Group is united in the pursuit of making sure that we receive every dollar we deserve. And that's why our Racehorse Development Fund has been constant in the past 4 years. Please go to our website at www.pabred.com or give me a call at 610-444-1050.
We we've got a fan looking pretty good. What do we have here? Jose Ortiz, #1 fan. Jose had himself a pretty good Saturday. A couple of stakes wins in a couple of different states. One at Charlestown, one at Laurel down in Maryland. We'll talk about him and a lot more on the Racing Report, and we will certainly have a lot to digest with the Joe Hirsch Turf Classic Day this coming Saturday. 5 graded stakes, $2 million or thereabouts in purses. The Belmont Park Fleece Blanket, and Rockfall looking to stake his claim as the country's top sprinter in the Grade 1 Vosburg.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he's got to hook up with Private Zone in that Vosburg.
All right, let's move on to the 5th race. Fillies and Mares throw it down at 1.25 miles, and here's Larry.
Comes out running well. Radiator is away running in second. Maggie Neary is third early on, and then it's My Sweet Girl to the inside, followed by Miss Chatelaine. After that, Queen's Parade, who's second last early in Trophy, taken to the rail to trail the field by Junior Alvarado, but racing only 6 lengths off of front-running Radiator. So Radiator and Jose Lezcano make the early pace here, and it's honest enough. 23-4 was the first quarter. Radiator the leader by 1.5 lengths over Striking Style as they journey to the backstretch. Maggie Neary tracks them in third. My Sweet Girl fourth, then Miss Chatelaine. Queen's Parade to the outside, and Trophy still 6 behind as Radiator leads them on to the backstretch. Radiator on top. Leads the way 3/4 length to Striking Style, and then it's Maggie Neary. The half was 49 seconds flat. My Sweet Girl fourth on the inside, 2.5 lengths off the lead. Then it's Miss Chatelaine, Queen's Parade, and Trophy now 5 lengths off of Radiator, who continues to lead the way up the backstretch and move for the turn in front. Striking Style still 3/4 length behind. And then it's My Sweet Girl, Maggie Neary to the outside, and Miss Chatelaine between those two. Trophy in behind horses on the rail, 4.5 lengths off the lead. And Queen's Parade keeps her pinned in for now, 3/4 and 1:13 flat. Around the far turn, still Radiator, and Striking Style runs at her now, and there goes Miss Chatelaine sweeping up. And there's running room for Trophy behind horses, who begins to gain ground. And they're into the stretch, and Miss Chatelaine is taking the lead. Trophy is coming on. And then it's Queen's Parade, Striking Style. Radiator's given way, and My Sweet Girl into the final furlong, and Trophy comes after Miss Chatelaine. Miss Chatelaine digs in. Trophy on the outside. Miss Chatelaine not letting her by. Oh, she's determined. Miss Chatelaine beats Trophy 1/2 length on the wire.
Pulpit 3-year-old, it was put up or shut up time for Miss Chatelaine, and Christophe Comont in the meantime had nothing to worry about. In fact, he was probably rooting for a dead heat down to the wire.
Yeah, we've seen this a couple of times where they wouldn't mind a dead heat, but was it a case of Trophy hanging or Miss Chatelaine fighting back? I mean, there was an 8-pound spread. The 3-year-old filly gets in with 16. I think it's significant going 1.25 miles, right? The 8-pound spread. But the jury's out with me. I don't know if she just fought back or the other filly hung a little bit.
No, I think this was a good effort out of Miss Chatelaine, who had been up against it like so many in her division, chasing Lady Eli to no avail over the summertime. She made it count against her older stablemate, a half-sister to Trev, by the way. She gears up for an ARC 3-peat.
Well, it's kind of interesting, too, that all the colts that have gotten away from American Pharaoh look better. All the fillies that have gotten away from Lady Eli, unfortunately, because Lady Eli's on the sidelines, have been looking pretty good, too.
Yeah, good call with that. Let's move on to everything else that happened on race number 8 from the opener, or day number 8. From the opener at 12:55 through the Sunday night cap and last leg of the big $2 million plus pick 6 carryover at 5:20.
And C-Note, and they're into the stretch, and it is elated on the inside. Future Show runs for the lead as they come into the final furlong. It is Future Show in front, leaving elated and the others behind as C-Note rallies up into second on the outside, and up the rail it's Pretty and Sweet. It will be Junior Alvarado and Future Show to win it by about 5 in the end. And then came C-Note, Pretty and Sweet, and Elated. Fourth at the top of the stretch, Prague, Star of New York, attractive ride between those two. And then it's Colin Smile, followed by Mach 7 into the final furlong, and Star of New York takes the lead. Iran Ortiz Jr. and Star of New York hit the front. Attractive ride will try to run with Star of New York late. Into third is Mach 7, then Colin Smile at Star of New York to win. And then it was Attractive Ride, followed by Mach 7 in pursuit as they come down to the quarter pole. And the half mile goes up in 45 flat. They're into the stretch. Winhurst is the leader by 2. Drifting out through the stretch, but clear from Mr. Popsicle in second. And then comes Copernicus on the outside. It is Winhurst down to the 16th pole with a 2.5 length lead. And then it's Mr. Popsicle, Copernicus, and Oldwick. It is Winhurst. Winhurst goes all the way to win it by 2.5. Mr. Popsicle was second, and then came Oldwick and Copernicus. Scorecard Harry's getting back into the mix, and Full of Mind is right in contention too. And they're into the stretch. It's Miroc, and on the outside it's Dedafos. Dedafos now to the front, and Busta the Bank is trying to go with Dedafos. Then comes Miroc, Scorecard Harry, and Full of Mind. Dedafos passing the 16th pole in front, and Dedafos and Mike Luzzy will get there on top by almost 3 in the end over Busta the Bank and Miroc. And then it was Scorecard Harry. Retreats on the inside. Andalusite is coming now. And they're into the stretch. Transcend is taking the lead. Andalusite is gaining ground on the outside. Relentless Ride is back into third. It is Andalusite. Andalusite and Irad Ortiz take the lead at the 16th pole from Transcend. As Melville moves up into third, it is going to be Andalusite to win it. Transcend was second best. And then came Melville and Relentless Ride. And it is Big Al Parker on the outside who runs up to take the lead. Big Al Parker has now taken charge. But gaining ground on the outside is Old Friend, who's putting in a strong run. And here comes Mind Magic, too. Old Friend, Mind Magic, these two emerge 1-2. It is Old Friend, Mind Magic down toward the inside. Gear Jammer, Old Friend over Mind Magic, and then Gear Jammer and Talladega.
$40K, the pick 6 payout. We hope you took it down today. It was a lot of fun all week long with nobody hitting the sequence. Andy Serling might have helped you out today, though. Race 6, Dedafos, last night's handicapper insider, got a good ride from Mike Luzzy.
Got a good ride. Good to see Mike Luzzy back in the winner's circle in New York off a horrendous injury. Won the stake at Laurel last weekend for Bruce Brown. Well, he wins the race for Bruce Brown again. Building blocks for Mike.
And winning concerning both 9-year-olds who battled bravely down to the wire in race 2 today. Attractive ride, second best, but did not want to give an inch behind Star of New York. They are now a combined 35 for 152 with $1.1 million in the bank.
Well, they're the elder statesmen of the stable area for sure. These were horses that were running while I was still riding, if you can believe that. But nice to see 9-year-olds still competing and getting it done.
We've got 6 claims, race 2, 3, race 4, another 3. Best man picked up, didn't run too well, reclaimed in fact by Rudy Rodriguez, mischievously. Bit of a bad actor in the gate, in fact, broke through the gate before the race, reclaimed by Linda Rice. She won a 3-way shake, and we all win on the show because we recapped the week that was at beautiful Belmont after this final timeout. National Racing Report, 6 p.m. Monday, I think 6 p.m. Tuesday. We covered 11 races, 6 tracks, made stops all over the country, including Kentucky Downs, Churchill Downs, Belmont with the Noble Damsel, a lot more, the Mig, Andy, and myself. We hope you'll tune in. And we talked about a few horses that, in fact, we'll see right now, beginning with Mo Heyman. This is called by Tappet, who looked pretty good in his debut here yesterday.
I thought he was very good, very professional. Broke running, established his position, fought for it, was headed at one point and came back. I think he's a horse that'll appreciate more distance, but all 3 of these horses, the first 3 finishers, are colts with the future.
And it sounds like the Nashua might be next for him as we get on to a very fast race, a 99 buyer for Recepta as Jimmy Toner won his second Noble Damsel.
Yeah, we talked about this earlier. Elvis Trujillo getting the money for Jimmy Toner. We like when the good guys win. Well, Jimmy Toner, he's one of the good guys, and this is a filly that's steadily improved throughout her career.
And let's give a little love back to Carafa. He was one of the stars already on tonight's show. He was that good, winning his second career, Ashley T. Cole.
He was very good. Turn of foot, that's the key. Slow pace, he's not too far away. He can explode like that. Lubash came up a little wanting today, not his usual run. I'm sure we'll see him back at his best form at some point, though.
You've got the New York Bred Showcase Day, the Mohawk. I think Lubash and Carafa have won that race in the past. They'll throw it down there. Maybe a little King Crease in the mix as well, as Junior Alvarado won a lot of races this week and continues to ride in top form. That's why he is the insider hot jockey.
Yeah, he's been riding terrific. I really enjoyed watching his development since he's arrived here in New York, and I think he has hit a maturity level, and that's one of the keys to his success right now.
Irad Ortiz, the only rider in the room today to win more than one at Belmont. He actually had a riding double. He's third nationally, Mig, with $15 million in the bank and 205 wins in 2015.
It doesn't seem that long ago when the leading rider in the country would lead with $6 million for the year. Well, $15 million, you're third, and you still got a few months to go. Pretty remarkable.
Chad Brown gearing up for 3 horses in Saturday's Joe Hirsch Turf Classic. He's your hot trainer. What do you win? 31 races upstate and right back at it here at Belmont Park.
Well, what's remarkable is that he's just been so consistent all the way through, and it's hard for a trainer to maintain that level. At some point, you run out of conditions or your horses get tired. But it seems like Chad and Todd Pletcher, they never have lulls.
He's second nationally with over $12 million in the bank, and we haven't even hit the Breeders' Cup prep season. And Chad Brown leads all trainers. He's your defending Belmont Park Fall Training title winner. He's won this meet the last 3 years. Gary Gullo, good to see him doing some good work.
Gary's having a career year. It's fun to watch. Gary knows how to place his horses, places them aggressively.
All right, here's Andy with Wednesday's plays.
Looking ahead to Wednesday's card, another contentious card here at Belmont Park. Thought there were a lot of wide-open races. Weather's expected to be good, so I'll assume we'll be on the turf for race number 2. And it's 1.25 miles, and that's a question for a number of these. Now, I think that Barton Holt shouldn't have a problem, and probably Born in Brooklyn, the likely favorite, won't have a problem. A question for memories of Peter, though, whether or not he'll be as effective stretching out. And honestly, a question for my selection as well, Ode to the Hunt. The 2 Ode to the Hunt didn't do a lot of running last time, but it was coming off a long layoff, and he clearly ran like a horse that needed the race. And once again, it was a race where coming from behind like he tried to do just wasn't going to work out. His prior effort at Gulfstream a ways back would make him very, very tough in here. Sure, he's got to get the distance, but at least if you're trying to get a horse to stretch out, you want to get a price. And I have to think Ode to the Hunt will be 4th choice in this race. I'm going to try the 2, Ode to the Hunt, for trainer Rick Violet in the 2nd race on Wednesday's card.
Could do a lot worse than taking a shot with one of Rick Violet's horses, an Ode to the Hunt here on Wednesday. We start at 12:55. For the Racing Report, 6 p.m. Monday, 7 p.m. Tuesday, and our second race we covered, Mig, was Frosted's big win in the Pennsylvania Derby.
Yeah, Frosted, a dominant winner in the Pennsylvania Derby. I'm a chatterbox, may have taken control of the 3-0 filly division, but we talk about a lot of races all over the country, and it's always fun, the National Racing Report.
Turf, dirt, 2-year-olds, you can't miss it right here on MSG Plus. Dark, live racing-wise at Belmont Park over the next couple of days. Back at it this coming Wednesday with the first race post at 12:55.